building a company doesn't require having a degree, in my opinion. It doesn't require to be a specific expert. You just have to re-engineer it.
Hi everyone, we are here with Lisa Gradow, the co-founder of Fides. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm really excited to talk about all you're building in the financial, compliance, all those sorts of industries. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you are creating with your company, I want to know a little bit about you. Can you give me like a 30-second rundown of who you are and where you came from?
First and foremost, a lawyer turned entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur since I can think. In elementary school, after high school, during law school, I always had my project. Mm-hmm. So this is my DNA, and I love to build things. I grew up in southern Germany, and therefore I'm also very patriotic about Europe and Germany in particular, mm-hmm. building something great coming out of that country.
Yeah, I love that. In terms of entrepreneurship, and you said you were interested in this from a young age, what about it excited you? Why is building a brand something that you're interested in?
I had that aha moment when I was 17, and I just had this idea, and I just, with common sense, started executing it. Mm-hmm. And then someone was like, "Oh, you're a founder now." And I had not heard that word before. I didn't know what a startup is. And then I looked it up online, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a job. You can just have an idea and execute it, and that's a business, mm-hmm. and that's a job." And nobody explains that to you in school, that this is an option. They just tell you you can become a doctor or pilot or anything, but they don't tell you that you can become an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And I think just having an idea and being able to just do it is the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Very exciting to have that freedom, to have the time and the space to build something that you are passionate about. You are a multi-time founder as well. I want to talk about Fides first. Can you give me the rundown of what you offer today?
We want to disrupt and automate corporate governance as much as possible. It's something that every company in the world mm-hmm. has to do. It has to do with board meetings, shareholder resolutions, subsidiary management. So something that doesn't sound exciting at the first glance, but you just have to do it. Mm-hmm. And nobody gets claps for doing it very well. So it's something that can really be and should be automated. Mm-hmm. Lawyers are very paper-based in terms of how they have been working for the past 20 years. Nothing has really changed. And it's so repetitive and so manual. So it's also very error-prone mm-hmm. and a lot of frustration around it. So we're here to offer an alternative and to really automate it. With my legal background, I also like to have it like very legally driven. Mm-hmm. So there's also guidance in the tool. So we go deeper in actually automating things on the legal side there. Mm-hmm.
And you work with finance teams, among other teams, to kind of do this process. And ultimately, in the end, I'm guessing make it a lot cheaper, more cost effective for them to do these, processes, more efficient in terms of time. What are the exact services that you're providing, and what are the outcomes? So our user groups are finance, legal, and then also the C-suite and mm-hmm. the board members. So everyone collaborates on a single source of truth, so they can retrieve data, look up documents, information, and then they can also use our AI to generate reports mm-hmm. and to have things faster and actually automate also some workflows through the AI. And then what we do by actually logging all the decisions from the C-suite and the board members, we protect them. Mm-hmm. So the underlying thing after you've saved cost and resources, actually you're protecting both the individuals in the board, in the C-suite, and the company itself, because we have this audit trail for the next 10 years of what has been shared with the board, what not. And you need that if you're ever being sued. And usually someone has to go look for that documents and data, and they are nowhere to be found because they're like in someone's email inbox who left the company long ago. Mm-hmm. So we're also something like the memory for the most important governance relevant decisions in a company that can be stored with us. How did you decide that this was a sector of the industry you wanted to embark on? Was there like a moment that you realized this was a pain point for people and founders, or what was the inspiration here?
In my previous role, I co-founded User-Centric, mm-hmm. which is now close to being a unicorn.
Yeah.
And I was in the role of, running a board and having to manage here and there corporate processes. And then I also became an angel investor. I invested in 15 companies as an angel. and became a shareholder there. So my inbox started to pile up with a lot of PDFs, a DocuSign here, an Adobe sign there, and then 2 years later, the tax advisor asked me like, "Oh, what was this resolution with this company?" And I'm like, "I don't know, and I also don't know like
where to find it." Yeah.
So I started looking, and I found some tools around that, like single use case tools for parts of that. And I was like, how can that be? Like, I cannot be the first one to struggle with the PDF, sell it in my inbox. And when I didn't find anything, I thought then someone has to build it. And corporate law was my focus in law school. So I also have a passion really for the corporate law because it's so structured and standardizable.
Yeah. In the years from founding Fides to today, how has it changed? What new things have you implemented? What has that growth looked like?
We started when ChatGPT and GenAI wasn't there. So in the beginning, we had built our own models to quickly extract information from the documents. Now with GenAI available, of course, it's a totally different thing. And we're a way for the legal departments and the boardrooms to really confidentially and securely use AI. Right now, they have no capability to do that. And especially in the boardroom, you have like 300-page decks where it really makes sense to use ChatGPT to prepare for a meeting, but you're not allowed to because it's too confidential. So this is something that now we can provide to our customers, a secure place for very, very confidential documents and data where we can promise them nothing will ever go out. We don't train with that data. We're just searching through your documents, no hallucinations whatsoever. And this has become a runner, so to say.
Yeah.
Because companies are looking for that right now.
Is that the primary reason people will come to Fides, or what are the other use cases that is really bringing customers in?
A lot of our customers have hundreds and thousands of subsidiaries. So this is one use case where it's really tedious without a tool. And we combine that entity management with the workflows. So historically, there has been either or, so you had to have two tools, so we unite that. So it's also a unification of several tools. We have a task management in there, so you have a corporate calendar with reminders. A signature is implemented, so we just unite several tools within each other. And then it's also for governance heavy companies like financial institutions or listed companies. They really have to have this audit trail for the decisions. And that can also be an urgency driver for why they're looking for it.
What have been some of the biggest challenges in the kind of combination of finance, technology, compliance, law? All of those are such dense industries. How have you come up against any hurdles? How have you kind of gotten past those?
I think the biggest hurdle is getting lawyers to change their behavior. So they have just gotten used to the way they did things. And we have both customers in the US and in Europe. And what we see with the European ones is that they've been really doing it with pen and paper. And in the US, we also see a lot of companies that have used incumbent tools. So we have to start telling them, actually, there's a better way. So it starts with education, with thought leadership. And we have this community called Circle of Councils where we have monthly events in rotating cities, and we actually meet with councils personally so we can get the conversation rolling on, hey, there's a better way to do this. So this is the biggest challenge, actually, to get the word out. But now we're at a point where in Germany and also in the US, we see the word of mouth effect, because now we have companies that are using it in the board, and then all the external board members start using it too, and then they're telling each other. So this is the nice viral effect about our tool.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of working in the US versus Europe, what are some of the biggest differences culturally, business-wise, that you have to think about when you are selling this service to clients in those various regions?
There's such an interesting comparison in where legal sits. So in Germany and Europe, legal mostly is under the CFO, reports to the CFO, doesn't really have their own budget. They're seen as a hurdle, not so positively enabling things. And then in the US, the legal departments, there's a CLO, so someone sits at the C-suite, and they have much more power, so to say, also in deciding what they want and what they don't want. And then there's another difference. legal operations is a function that every US company has, like at least one person fully responsible just for optimizing processes, because legal is known to be a bottleneck for a lot of other business purposes. And so the US is very conscious about, we need to enable the business, so we need to make legal quicker. And in Europe, the general counsel often has to do legal operations at night because he doesn't get a full-time position for just someone optimizing and implementing tools. There are the big corporates, they have that, but everyone else is really doing it on the side, and then digitization doesn't work.
Who are the majority of your clients today? How big are these enterprises? Who are you working with?
It's corporates, and it can be medium-sized corporates, bigger corporates, family offices. Through the range, it's, for example, Lime is a customer, the scooter company, but then also Sequoia, big fund that we all know. Then we have Faber-Castell, so the pencils. So a lot of different companies, and that's what I love about our tool. Everyone needs it because everyone has a board, has resolutions, has subsidiaries, and can benefit from automation in that part.
Definitely. Prior to Fides, you, as you mentioned, co-founded User-Centrics. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and then ultimately deciding to move on?
Yeah, so I worked in-house at Scalable Capital and had the joy of implementing the GDPR. And there I came across the idea that, okay, someone needs to build this cookie banner, and if there's no provider for it, then every company has to build it, and that seemed not so smart.
Right.
So then I was connected with someone else who was building the same thing at the same time, and without really knowing each other, we just started, and it was so much fun, so chaotic, because of GDPR, and when it came into effect, everyone was like panicking. But then also nothing really happened. So for the first, I would say 1.5, 2 years, we were also like similar to this now, actually explaining everyone why it's important, what's the risk. And then suddenly there was a verdict by the European Higher Court, and then the ball started rolling. And now, User-Centrics is close to 100 million in ARR and is doing great, but it's one product, it's a cookie banner. And I am very happy now with doing a little bit of a more complex product suite, but I love the ride.
What from that ride are you now bringing into Fides? I'm sure there are so many lessons you learned, things that you did that you might now avoid. What are some of those things that you're pulling with you today?
I think the biggest learning is that you just have to be yourself and not try to sell someone something you're not, both from a tool perspective, but also you personally towards investors, towards employees, towards customers. So I feel like one personality that goes into all directions the same. So I just want to be very authentic about what's important to me, what I'm passionate about, what I'm good at, what I'm bad at. So this is, I think, the most important thing to myself, to stay true to myself. And then also business-wise, everything is selling always. So it helps if you're passionate about it, because even now, like talking about it, I get energy from that because I love what I'm doing. And I think that is important. As soon as you lose that spark, everyone will sort of feel it. I'm a big believer in energies and vibes, and that your thoughts can also be seen and manifest. And that's something that you just have to be intuitive about.
Yeah, I love that. In terms of the future, now that you're taking these learnings, being yourself in these meetings, going forward with Fides in a way that you feel is, really what you are excited about, what you're passionate about, what do you see as the future? Is there anything on the horizon that you're especially excited for?
Our goal is to become the European leader, or at least the leader in our region, of course, as fast as possible. And for us, it's also very important to stay a European company, but with a global footprint. And I think that's what a lot of companies in Germany miss. And investors tell you always like, oh, you need to wait, don't scratch yourself between two continents. And there was one thing in the Sequoia ARC program that the founder of Klarna said, like in hindsight, what would he have done differently is go to the US before you go to any European country, because a new market comes with the same challenges. Either it's France or Italy or the US. And then it might as well be the US being the biggest market. And we have competitors in Germany that are the same providers in the US. So we know our product is already better than theirs. And that's why we're going to attack them in their home market. And my schedule, if you look into my calendar, like everything after 6 p.m. is US calls. Sometimes I give demos at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about that, actually.
Do you have any predictions about how AI is going to continue to impact you and what you're building?
So we have a lot of agents that we're currently building that will fully automate what counsels are doing today. So you will just interact with our tool like it's your personal paralegal or even corporate counsel. So we will automate a lot of the tasks over the long time that counsels right now have to do manually. That doesn't mean that they will fall out of a job, but it just means they have more time for high value tasks. And then also looking into the boardroom, there's something about also giving strategic recommendations to the board members that could be exciting, because there's so much data and facts to consider in the boardroom where AI can really help you to quickly pull something up to remind you, hey, you've already discussed this 2 years ago. So this is something that, we will probably be looking into more.
Yeah. For other young founders today, having now built multiple companies, left one, started a new one, success on both of those ends, what is your biggest piece of advice for others who are hoping to build companies right now?
It's common sense. Building a company doesn't require having a degree, in my opinion. It doesn't require to be a specific expert. You just have to re-engineer it. Like, there's always a first step, and I think that's where the most people, they don't even get started. And I respect if someone gets started, and then you will figure it out on the way.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to walk me through all this. I'm so excited to see all that you guys continue to build with Fides.
Thank you.